You are listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope, the podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with a really special guest, Sofia Husnain. Sofia's story began in the arms of a single mother, thousands of miles away, where women are anything but equal partners in the male-dominated society. From abandonment by her father to facing extreme poverty and hardship throughout her childhood, immigrating to America and being diagnosed with a chronic lifelong illness at the age of 20. Sofia's story is about self-discovery through the shadows of the past and the rebirthing that we experience through traumatic and extremely difficult challenges that we face that forever change us and the trajectory of our lives. Sofia, that's exactly what this podcast is all about. So you are perfect here.
Thank you so much, Jana, for having me on. This is such an honor, and you're just incredible. And I'm so blessed to be here and to know you. So thank you.
So now you know why we invited her on.
Yeah,
she's pretty amazing. Well, Sofia, the first thing we do is we share those stories. We want to share our stories, our journey. It's little pieces of our soul, literally, and our heart. But what it does when it goes out into the world is to create that beautiful ripple effect of hope in others. So do you want to share your story with us today?
Absolutely. I would so be honored to. This is why we do what we do, to give hope and empower and inspire and to show women exactly the action steps of how to turn that mess into that message, So I would be more than happy to share, and even if it can resonate with one person, I would be, that's such a blessing for me. So. Yeah.
Great. I can't wait to I know I've heard part of it, but I can't wait to hear your story of hope and
yes.
I know that's going to tell us why you're showing up and serving the way you are.
Yeah, I looking back like present day on everything that I've endured, since childhood, I will say I am blessed. I'm blessed for every single challenge that life threw at me. I'm blessed for every single setback, every adversity. And I say that because that is the only way that we ever step up in life and become our next best self. It's through those adversities and challenges and difficulties and those even years of when you feel like the world is crashing down around you and there's no hope and you feel completely alone and hopeless. Believe me, that is a blessing, because you wouldn't be going through those challenges if it wasn't meant for a higher purpose, if there wasn't, like that silver lining behind it that you just can't see at the moment. But in hindsight, you will be so grateful that you went through that experience. So because I think about my life and, if I wasn't diagnosed with, my autoimmune, or if I wasn't an immigrant, or, going through those challenges of, being raised by a single parent, I wouldn't be who I am today. And so it's all because of, all of those dark years. And so just like Jana said, I wasn't born in the US, I was born in Pakistan overseas. And, my mother actually was an American citizen since the 70s, but she made a conscious choice to have me and my sister back home. So we're familiar with our culture. We understand our traditions, our values, our roots, our religion, all those things are very important to her. So me and my sister were born overseas, and my sister's older than me. So shortly after I was born, about a month into my birth, my father walked out of our lives, and my mom was basically left to fend for herself, in a very male dominant culture where things are getting a little bit better there now with the new generations, but still women are very much second class. It's very hard for a woman, especially a single woman, to hold down a job because your superiors are all male. And my mom, being a good looking woman, young, she would face a lot of harassment, a lot of blackmailing. It was very, very difficult for her to hold a job down. So we saw a lot of poverty, a lot of horrible financial, circumstances because of, and there's no idea of child support, in these countries. And so we basically had to fend for ourselves, and just us, us three, no brothers, I never really had a very strong male figure in my life, even when you look at extended family. So, my sister and there were nights the fridge was empty, there would be nothing to eat. And, sometimes neighbors would kind of pitch in and help, but, we always lived in fear, fear of, who's going to show up at the door, because, you get a lot of, like one time we were robbed at gunpoint, and the people would follow us all the time, like, stalk us. It was just very much not the way that you want to, be, for my mom, not being able to give us that security as kids and that protection. So we finally, when I was 11 years old, my mom decided to move back to the States. And we moved back to Chicago. That's always kind of been our home, Chicago. And we moved here in April of 2001. And I started 7th grade here that fall semester. And then September 11th happened. When I was in 7th grade, I remember sitting in English class, and I could barely speak English at the time. And, I realized my teacher started crying just randomly. And I'm like, okay, what is happening? And turns out, with the Twin Towers and everything, I didn't even know what the Twin Towers were at the time. I'm confused as heck, like, what is going on? And interestingly enough, I was the only Muslim kid in my school at that time. So being, fresh off the boat, I guess you could say, being the only Muslim, fresh immigrant, didn't understand the culture, the language, what was expected from me. It was very, very, that was probably the biggest wake up call of my life. That, girl, you gotta wake up, and you gotta be an adult, and you gotta, get your big girl pants on. And because for years after that, I was very much bullied and, made feel bad to, felt bad for like who I am. And, I remember hiding my identity for years after, because I was just so scared of the backlash and, of all the misunderstandings that people have about the Muslim culture and whatnot. And, it was very, very tough. But again, looking back, I'm grateful for all of it. I'm still blessed. And, but, kind of fast forwarding through that, in my college years, I decided to become a nurse because I just always loved the idea of community and service and helping others. That was always something very near and dear to me. So shortly before I graduated nursing school, I just started having some vague symptoms, just kind of vague pain and just not feeling very well all the time. I thought it was maybe stress, because those of you who are nurses, that nursing school is tough stuff. So, but long story short, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune condition with no known cause or cure. And, for about 7 years after that, my doctor, they tried every single medication, treatment, IVs, injections. I was getting pretty close to getting the surgery where they remove, part of your colon because of just the crazy inflammation that's going on in your body. My doctor was basically, he said to me, I don't know what else to do. We've tried it all. You just don't respond to it. Your body has stopped responding. So, so that's when I was introduced to the world of holistic medicine by a friend of mine, also a nurse. And, initially I was very much not open to the idea. I was very skeptic, because in our training, our schools, they don't teach these concepts that we, that are so huge, and they should be taught. But, and it changed my life. It completely changed my life. It changed the direction of my life, my purpose, my goals, for my future, my outlook on my life. It was just an amazing adventure, really. And, here I am almost, 6 years later, and I'm in the best, health of my life. It's amazing. And so the holistic medicine world really opened my eyes to also the world of entrepreneurship and, going beyond the realms of a job to make a difference. And nothing against, working as a nurse, in the fields, but I felt like my hands were very tied. So I decided to kind of, walk away from that career and really, just scream from the mountaintops, all this amazing value that I had gained and all the education, because I feel like that's the difference between those who are thriving and not, is simply just a lack of education and access. So to me, it was, if I can really open people's eyes and get them to start thinking a different way, what kind of impact could I truly create? So that journey really led me into the world of business and meeting other amazing women like you, Jana, that are just doing amazing things in the community. It really kind of inspires you to do more as well, and to really step out of this comfort zone and this bubble and these, the fear, right? The fear of really just jumping off that cliff and learning how to fly, So that's how I created my community, Woman Disrupted. It was really born as a result of everything. And our community truly represents women that have gone through just crazy adversities, setbacks, challenges, and who they became as a result of all their trauma, all their pain, all their grief and their loss. Who are they now as a result of? So that was a very kind of a quick version of the story, but I'm grateful. I am so it was all meant for this moment right here. So it's amazing. I'm getting chills just
By the
talking about
way,
it.
I got chills too. Let me tell you, I did, because I know, like, I look back at my darkest moments, like literally the times when you're like, why are you doing this to me? Why is this happening to me?
Right.
But now I know, like, and what
Yeah.
I wouldn't have changed one bit, including losing some people that I loved so much, knowing that that was the end of their journey. I wouldn't change that, not one moment. I have people tell me all the time that they're careful who they love because they just can't deal with the loss, whether it's a relationship that ends or
Right.
someone you love that leaves in another way. But here's the thing, don't do that, because that they can come into your life, right? At that moment, like an illness comes into your life, or a challenge that comes into your life at a very specific moment to create something beautiful in you. And so you won't see that, I promise you, going through it, because you're not meant to, right? You're just meant to get through it.
Yeah.
But when you do get through it and you look back, I promise you're going to know why. Like I would not have believed that sentence, by the way. Now I know it to be true.
Right.
Sophia, one of the things I want to talk to you, because honestly, you're my first guest I've ever had that's openly talked about being raised Muslim as a woman in a man's sort of dominated country. And then here, with, what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to just talk to you a little bit about that, because people who are raised in the U.S., women who are raised in the U.S., we're out fighting for our rights, right? We're fighting to get our voices heard, and we absolutely should. Right. Having said that, I want you to just take a moment to be grateful for the things that we do have. That doesn't mean it can't be better, and it should be better. Right. But when I go to other countries and I see things, I just can't even believe it still exists in this time frame, right? And so I don't think people are even aware of the like you saying you weren't even safe in your own home. And especially with a woman without a man protecting them, totally not safe living in that place. What are some of the things that you've learned and taken away that you are now moving out into your Women Disrupted and sharing? Because it's, again, you should be super grateful if you're living in the US. And again, yes, it can be better. We're learning every day. And have women gotten there yet? No. Will we ever get there? No, because when we get there, we expand. Like wow, I'm on the top of the mountain and I see something over there that looks even better.
Right. We want more. Yes.
Which is good. We should always want to be better and have more. Like, it's a good thing. Yes. So tell us some of the things that you are sharing with Women Disrupted that have to do, like, what are some of your takeaways from learning all that?
Right. Gratitude is the first thing that, I've been getting better at practicing that every day myself as well. And teaching that to others, because you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of people that are here, they haven't seen, firsthand some of those struggles that a lot of these people face, even with basic necessities to live, that people don't have. So gratitude first and foremost, every single day. As soon as you wake up in the morning, be grateful that your eyes have opened and you're alive and you have another day, you have, air in your lungs and you're ready to take on the day that, you're blessed with, because at any moment in time, it could all be over in an instant, so we take time so for granted in our lives, and that is something that is probably the most precious asset that we have, is our time that we have on this earth. And how are you spending that time? Who are you spending it with? Who are you spending it for? I mean, those are all the things that a lot of people don't really think about when they get stuck in that mundane, everyday living. And the second thing is turning your pain into purpose, because every single person on this earth has pain of some sort, some shape or form. But how are you transforming that pain into purpose? How are you transforming that pain into your power? And how is that pain helping others? Because everything that happens to us, I don't think it's just for us. I believe there's a message behind it for the world around us as well. How is that impacting the lives of other people? How is someone else's life better because of your existence? So that is the second thing is, and for our community women, I mean, we have such incredible women that are in our community that have, gone through such just heartbreaking trauma. I mean, that it's unimaginable, but now they're, these leaders, and they're leading these amazing communities, and they're truly making a difference, like on a federal level. It's amazing, passing bills and laws. And I mean, it's so incredible. So, and I always push philanthropy as well. If God is blessing you, don't forget about those that are, left behind. And it gets very easy to, compare our lives to people on social media, and looking to that person like, oh, look, she has this, and she has everything going for her, but why not me? Like, we get stuck in this, like, why not me? Like, they're great and I'm not. And, we get stuck in this kind of like feeling like this, like our self-worth goes down, and, we get in this comparatitis mode, and it takes a toll on our own self-esteem. But I always preach, don't look to those that might be in a different position as you, financially. Look to those that are, not. Like, what about the billions of people that don't even have the basic necessities to live their life? I mean, what about those people? So it's very easy to kind of get stuck in this, like, I want to be like that influencer, and I want to be like that person. But why wouldn't you want to be the hero for those that are struggling, and that are barely trying to survive, and they can barely feed their own children, who are literally giving their children up to these orphanages because they can't afford to have them? Like, can you imagine being a mother giving your child away because you can't
or to feed them? I know.
Exactly. I mean, it's so those are the things that we try to preach in our communities. Is you got to change that mindset. You have to start looking at the world differently. And, social media is great, but use your voice on social media, these amazing tools that we have now to create change. Let's talk about change. Let's talk about impact. Let's talk about, what can we do? Actually, later today, Jana, I'm going to a friend's a non-for-profit. She's hosting a drive that literally collects bras for women. It's a bra drive. And we wouldn't even think about such a small item, but what a bra can do for a woman, in a homeless shelter, or in a, we have a local facility here that takes care of women and children that are homeless. But a little thing like a bra, what can that do for a woman's self-esteem, self-confidence? So she started this in honor of her mother who passed away. So, it's like these things that we don't even quite think twice about, and how big of an impact. She's collected over 5,000 bras over 5 years, and her impact is now going global. And we got a phone call from an ex-homeless woman who got one of her bras, was able to go on a job interview because she felt confident enough to have an actual bra. Because what I learned was a lot of homeless women wear rags, like washcloths, to hold their breasts up. She got a job, she was able to buy a house, and now she's, financially secure, all because of this domino effect of one bra. And so I literally have chills now. I mean, it's just such an incredible way when you change your mindset and you get out of this me mentality, and my life sucks and everybody else is doing good but me. But you don't realize you still have so much power for so many of those that are so much worse off. And a lot of times these people they can't break out of that cycle unless someone truly reaches in and pulls them up. It's such a and that's truly my why. My why is to start an organization for women and children back in my home country, because my in-laws still live overseas, so I go every other year to visit them, and I'm glad for that connection still back home, because I truly get to see firsthand the struggles even now of people's lives, and it keeps it fresh in my head, because sometimes we get frustrated with our goals, and we can't reach our goals as fast as we want, and we want to just throw in the towel and just give up. But it keeps it going in my head that no, my obedience, a lot of people's blessings are depending on my own obedience, to my goals and to the things that I want to do. And so yeah, it's it's a great reminder for sure. And just to stay
Girl,
humble.
you hit the nail on the head. Like literally
Yeah.
giving back, lifting others. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is so amazing when you're in a
Yeah.
position that you're able to do that. And by the way, everyone's in a
Right.
position to help someone else out, correct? No matter
Absolutely.
how
Big or
low
small.
they feel
Mm-hmm.
the situation is, a smile to someone who needs it is in the position to give somebody else something what they need to get through that day. And I love that your friend is doing the bras. I got to tell you, I did a part of a Guinness Book World Record
Yeah.
thing we did for creating sanitary napkins, right?
Yeah.
For women in Africa, they don't have them. And we
Right.
sewed them and created them so they could be reusable. They just would wash them. And we had to create a certain number in a certain amount of time. And we pulled together to do it in 2 days and we got the world record of creating the most of these to go over to Africa,
Wow.
to the women there. But I can't even imagine, we were raised with so much privilege
Yeah.
that when I found out, like, do you know that when certain areas in Africa to this day, when women have their cycle, they're put in like a decontamination hut.
Mm-hmm.
They're considered unclean, and
Right.
they can't socialize with anyone, and they're put there alone. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just, they're ostracized from their family.
Right.
And it's just crazy. And I think, those are
Yeah.
things that have to change. You know how we are always saying change starts from within?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that too in other countries. There's a lot of history there, and you can't go in and bully people to change. It has to start, they have to be educated. They have
Right.
to start learning. Change has to start within those spaces.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we'll go bully it and we leave, and it goes back, and it goes back worse because now they're mad that they were forced to do something that they
Right.
they didn't understand. So whenever I see these beautiful countries, I'm like, why is this still happening?
Right.
Why? And I want to change it. I know that change can only start from within. The women
Mm-hmm.
have to understand, like, they have to find their voice and come together. And it's not like me finding my voice and getting a slap on the hand or something. They could lose their life. Their families could reap the benefits of them finding their voice. But at some point it will happen. The
Mm-hmm.
change will happen. And when it happens within, it's change that really changes.
Absolutely.
Like, you see it all the time with militaries going in, and they show their presence. I'm not saying they bully, they do good. I'm not saying they're not. They go in and they create this change, and then we pull our troops out, and what happens?
Right. Right.
Total chaos.
Chaos.
Because the
Absolutely.
change didn't come from within, right?
Yes.
They didn't understand it. They didn't take the steps they needed to get there. Like those steps where somebody gets hurt because they spoke out, and other women say, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. And they start reacting, and that doesn't happen when we come in and do it for them.
Right. Absolutely. And you're so right. Having partners in that's why I really like an organization called World Vision. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know about World Vision, but that's what they do. They have partners, in these countries that are locals, and exactly what we talked about earlier, that lack of education, it's still such a huge issue for these communities. They just don't know what they don't know. So how do you educate them? How do you enlighten them? How do you broaden their horizons and their thinking? And how do you create these kinds of changes? And I mean, it's amazing. You're absolutely right. The impact that can be made when you start from within the community itself versus outsiders coming in and then leaving. And then it's the same cycle. Absolutely.
Sophia, I want to make sure we're not offending anyone too. So when we say education, it doesn't mean we think you're stupid or ignorant and you need to come in there and smarten you up.
Right.
It literally is a changing of culture, a changing of histories and histories of things that have been done, right? And it's just accepting a little bit of change in our heart, our soul, and being educated that it's not scary. Nothing really is changing when these things happen. So I don't mean like these are stupid people and they need to be educated. It's not.
Yes.
This is years of either religious beliefs or history beliefs, right? Or just things that they have done for so long that served them really well when it started, but maybe doesn't serve them so much anymore. And it's fear of what that change looks like. So that's what we mean when we're saying education. I don't want anyone to say, like, what are you saying? We're
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. No, you're so right. And changing that environment for these people, just exposing them to something different, something better, does wonders. I mean, it's amazing. And same thing, like, it could be, like, let's talk about our society here, financial education, for example. So many people, like let's talk about like first world problems, right? Financial education, how to manage your money, how to grow your money. Like these concepts that still a lot of people don't really quite grasp. But it's a similar concept as that as well. I was watching a movie actually about, and it's a real story about, there's some communities in India where you're not supposed to have a bathroom in the house because it's considered unsanitary, unclean, So women would literally have to hold it all day and then go out in the fields in the middle of the night so nobody can see them and go relieve themselves basically in the field because they were not, there was no bathroom in the home. And then that concept to me was just so incredible. Like, wow, people truly still even now think that. And
here I get upset when my toilet seat doesn't heat up like it's supposed to. Seriously, we're so spoiled. Like we're so spoiled. I want to before, because we only have a couple minutes, but I definitely want to talk about Women Disrupted. I want you to tell people what they're going to find in this community so that we can invite them into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can go to womendisrupted.com is the website, and it also has information on to join our Facebook group as well. And, if you are, and, we'd also welcome men as well. Obviously, we're majority women, but, anybody who, wants a community that uplifts together, we share a lot of content, we give a lot of value in that group on just ways that you can, uplift yourself, whether it be health or wealth education, whether it be, leadership, self-development. And I also bring a lot of speakers in the group as well, similar to, what me and you are doing, Jana, that women who come on and share their stories of how they were able to turn it around for themselves and their families and what they went through, in their lives, and just to kind of give hope and inspire and, and as well as provide action steps as to how someone can start today, to take action if they choose to. Obviously, it's a choice to change their lives as well. And so we provide a lot of tools, resources, that women can access, and a lot of it is free, So it's all up to them. It's a choice at the end of the day to really start taking that action and be that voice for someone else, in the future. So yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
Ladies, honestly, you have no excuse. You have no excuse to not start following those beautiful dreams you have, that whatever that fire is burning in your tummy, saying, I could do this, I can do that. And then you hear that little voice in their head saying, no, you can't. You can. And you have access to so many free things, by the way, and partying with other people and other women and collaborating. Let me tell you, it's how I built my entire business, is working with amazing, brilliant women who stepped out before me, right? And just started showing me the way. So you can find women like that and just start building. The world needs you. You have a message. You have a beautiful gift to share, and they need that. So thank you so much, Sofia, for joining us. Sofia has an article in our magazine, Best Holistic Life, too. So I am so excited that we met and we are able to share some of her joy with all of you. Thank you, Sofia.
Thank you, Jana.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.